Welcome to the deep dive. So if you're a creator, an entrepreneur, really, anyone building a reputation online, you already know the challenge we're tackling today.
Oh, yeah.
The second you put anything out there, your ideas, your product, whatever it is, you run into this fundamental truth.
That negative comments are just going to happen.
They're inevitable. You just can't get away from them.
And it is exhausting, right? The standard reaction is always emotional. It's defensiveness, it's justification, or we just retreat completely.
Right.
But this deep dive, it's not really about avoiding that negativity. It's almost about weaponizing it.
Right.
Our mission here is to look at how to handle this stuff, not as a failure, but as a real strategic opportunity.
Turning them into trust-building moments.
Exactly. That's what the best creators call them. Powerful, trust-building moments.
Because it's so true. When someone leaves a harsh comment, your reply is never just for that one person.
No, it's a performance.
It's a total performance for your entire audience. All those silent followers, they're watching how you handle conflict. It really defines your brand.
It does.
So we've taken the source material and we've basically distilled it down into 9 simple, proven strategies.
Things you can actually use.
Yeah, things designed to keep you professional, protect your reputation, and maybe even, strengthen your brand when things get heated.
Okay, let's jump right in. The place to start is the foundation. Before you even think about typing a reply, you need some guardrails.
Internal and external.
Right. So section 1, mindset and preparation. It's all about emotional control and having your tools ready to go.
Okay, let's unpack this. Tip number 1, which the sources say is the absolute non-negotiable rule.
The 10-second pause.
The 10-second pause. It's adamant. Never, ever respond when you're emotional, when you feel defensive or angry. But why 10 seconds specifically?
Well, it's all about basic neuroscience, really. When you see a nasty comment, it triggers your amygdala.
The fight or flight center.
Exactly, the brain's emotional core. We call it an amygdala hijack. And in that state, your rational brain, your prefrontal cortex, is basically offline.
It's being blocked.
It's being actively blocked. So that quick 10-second breath, it's usually just enough to force a little cognitive reset. It lets the professional part of your brain come back online before you hit send.
So if you reply in the heat of the moment,
You are guaranteeing it gets worse. The pause isn't a suggestion. It's mandatory self-control.
that reframes it completely. It's not just a nice idea, it's a tactical necessity. Okay, so from internal control, let's talk about external tools. This brings us to tip number 6, which is all about being prepared.
The power of templates.
The power of templates. I love this one.
Yeah.
The advice is to have 3 to 5 pre-written calm responses just saved in a note on your phone.
Yeah, why waste the mental energy trying to craft the perfect reply when
Yeah.
you're already tired or stressed out? This is a preventative measure.
Yeah.
You write these templates now while you're calm and rational, and it guarantees you have a professional reply ready to go later when your filters might be a bit down.
And the source material gave a couple of really great examples of these.
Yeah, they're good.
So the first one is a perfect, low-effort way to diffuse things. It doesn't admit you're wrong. It just shows grace. It's appreciate the honesty, working to improve.
And that's it. It's a period, not an invitation to argue. It just uses positive language and shuts down any potential for more conflict.
Right.
And the second example is a little more strategic because it shifts the burden back onto the person commenting.
What does it say?
It says, different strokes for different folks. What would make it better for you?
Oh, I love that. Because it forces the commenter to stop just being critical.
Right. They have to actually do the work of coming up with a solution, which, most of the time they won't.
Or they just have to admit their comment was just noise.
And that is the whole point of these foundational steps. They make sure you're never caught off guard. You have the 10-second pause. You have these professional templates ready so you can maintain total professionalism under pressure.
Because the guardrails are already built. You don't have to invent a solution in the middle of a conflict.
Exactly.
Okay, so that gives us the foundation. Now let's get into section 2, which is the actual communication strategy, the specific formulas to use.
Right. The scripts for how to respond that address the commenter, but also manage that bigger public audience that's watching.
So where do we start?
This starts with tip number 2, which sets up the right flow for any kind of, say, service issue or a product complaint. It's public first, private follow-up.
So you have to give a short, polite answer in public first.
Yes, and then you immediately move the actual problem-solving part to a direct message, a DM.
But the temptation is just to DM them right away. right?
Yeah.
To handle it quietly. Why is that public part so important?
Because that initial public reply, that's your advertisement to everybody else.
Yeah.
Most of your audience will never leave a comment, but they do read them.
They're lurkers.
They're all lurkers. So by replying publicly with something like, I'm so sorry this happened, checking my DMs now to get this sorted for you, you're signaling to hundreds, maybe thousands of people that you're responsive and you care.
You move the messy fix private, but the good deed stays visible for everyone.
That's it.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, but what if the criticism isn't about, like, a shipping error? What if it's about value or price?
For that, tip number 3 gives us the absolute gold standard.
The feel, felt, found formula.
It's pure psychological jujitsu. It's an amazing tool that comes from advanced sales and persuasion, and it's so powerful because it forces you to show empathy before you try to correct them.
Okay, so break down the 3 parts for us.
So the first part is feel. That's the empathic hook. You say, I understand you feel, and then you insert their emotion, like frustration or disappointment.
So that shows you're actually listening.
Right. Then comes felt. This part normalizes their feeling. You say, others have felt the exact same way. This lowers their defenses because they don't feel so alone in their concern.
And then the pivot.
And then the pivot.
Yeah.
Found. This is where you bridge to your solution or your value. Here's what they found. And the example from the source material for handling price is just perfect.
What was it?
It's, I understand you feel the price is high. Some followers felt that too. They found that the results inside the program were worth 10 times what they initially paid.
So it doesn't justify, it just neutralizes the objection by focusing on the value, the return on investment.
Exactly. If you can master that formula, you can turn almost any critique about value into a little testimonial for your ROI.
That is definitely one to write down and practice. But, sometimes you don't need a whole 3-part formula.
No.
Sometimes the criticism is so, I don't know, petty or vague that you just need to drop a positive comment and walk away.
Which brings us to tip number 4, killing with kindness, the short version.
The short version.
This is all about brevity and maturity. It's just a simple, short, positive reply that shows you're above it all. The example they give is minimal. It's just, thank you for the feedback. Working on it.
That feels almost too short. I mean, isn't there a risk it could look dismissive, like you didn't really take their criticism seriously?
That's the nuance, right? It works best for those generalized, non-constructive complaints, the ones that don't really deserve the feel, felt, found treatment.
Okay.
The strategic advantage is all about public perception. Because your reply is so short and positive, the other person has to either stop or they have to escalate their negativity against your kindness.
And to the silent audience, you look classy and they look
bitter and obsessed. It's a really low-effort, high-impact win for your reputation.
low effort, high reputation payoff. Love it. Okay, but we have to talk about the boundary here. Tip number 9 draws a very hard line.
Yes, never argue, never justify too much.
The maximum engagement is
One calm reply, period. Full stop.
That is a tough one to stick to, especially if you feel like you're being misunderstood. What if they ask a reasonable follow-up question? Don't you owe them an answer?
You owe them professionalism, but you don't owe them endless amounts of your time. If they don't accept your first calm response, they're probably not engaging in good faith anyway.
So anything more than one reply is just feeding the troll.
You're feeding the troll, and you're actually hurting your own image. If you keep arguing, you're signaling that this person is worth your time, which implies your time isn't that valuable. You have to move on.
The ultimate sign of maturity is knowing when to just walk away. Okay, that's a great structure. Let's pivot now to section 3, defense and community vibe control.
Right. How do we actually use this negative input? Or, when do we decide it's just too toxic to even touch?
This gets to that crucial distinction between constructive criticism, even if it's harsh, and just pure malicious trolling.
And we can start on the beneficial side with tip number 5, turning negativity into content.
I love this one. It's such a relatable strategy because you're flipping the script. You take their negative energy and you monetize it.
Exactly. The process is pretty simple. Screenshot the comment, and you have to hide their name. That's crucial. And then you make a video or a post about it.
With the title, "Someone Said This, Here's the Truth."
And this does 2 huge things. First, it lets you address that criticism for everyone, not just for the one person who said it. You're correcting misinformation publicly.
And second,
And this is key, confronting a common criticism head-on often makes for your most relatable content. Because if one person was brave enough to type it,
20 other people were thinking it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You validate their question and you give everyone clarity at the same time.
But like you said, not all feedback is created equal. Some of it is just toxic. Which brings us to tip number 7, deleting or hiding real trolls.
Yes.
So how do we make that call? When is it a content opportunity, tip 5? And when is it a delete action, tip 7?
You have to set a threshold. If the comment is specific, if it mentions a legitimate flaw, even if it's harsh, that's potential content for tip 5.
So your editing is sloppy, is tip 5.
Right. But if the comment contains pure hate, abuse, spam, threats, or it attacks you personally instead of your content,
You're ugly and your mother should be ashamed.
that's tip 7. That is an instant delete or restrict with zero explanation.
Hey, you mentioned restrict. What's the difference between that and blocking?
It's subtle but brilliant. Blocking removes them, they know they're gone, but restricting lets them keep commenting.
Yeah.
Only they can see their own comments.
It's like putting them in a private little rage box.
Exactly. They waste all their energy yelling into the void, and you protect your peace. It's necessary for you, and honestly, it's necessary to protect the positive vibe of your whole community.
You're curating the environment for everybody else.
You have to.
Okay, finally, let's wrap up this section with vibe management. Tip number 8, for when things are just feeling a little negative in the comments.
Pinning positivity.
Pinning positivity. It's a simple, powerful, visual tactic.
Yeah, if the comment section is getting tense, you just find a genuinely glowing positive comment and you pin it right to the top of the feed.
I can see the immediate psychological effect of that, but is it a little manipulative if you're just covering up valid criticism with praise?
I'd call it deliberate curation of the first impression. You aren't deleting the criticism, you're just controlling the default tone.
Okay.
So when a new visitor lands on your page, the first thing they see sets the tone for them. If they see a positive review pinned at the top, it signals that this is a valued community, regardless of any noise happening below.
It changes the whole dynamic with a single click.
It's effective reputation management.
We've covered a ton of ground here, from the internal defense of the 10-second pause to the strategic offense of feel, felt, found, and finally, setting those firm boundaries.
The biggest takeaway, I think, from all of this is just preparation. Your reputation isn't about perfectly handling every single comment that comes your way.
No, it's about being ready for the worst ones.
It is. So if you do nothing else after hearing this, take the time to implement tip 1, that critical pause, and tip 6, get those templates written today.
That preparedness means you're never caught flat-footed.
Exactly.
It's about managing conflict professionally. That's how you build that real, unshakable trust with an audience.
So as you go back to your community and you start thinking about these strategies, here's a final thought for you to mull over. It's rooted in that tension between tip 5, turning it into content, and tip 7, deleting it.
Okay.
The moment you successfully turn a negative comment into a viral, relatable piece of content, you're actually incentivizing other people to criticize you harshly. They hope their comment gets featured next.
So if confrontation brings clicks...
Right. How do you stop your audience from getting more and more hostile just to get your attention? How do you navigate that cycle?
That decision, that threshold, is maybe the most fascinating part of modern reputation management.
It really is. We'll leave you to think on that one.